A transistor is a semiconductor device with at least 3 terminals for connection to an electric circuit. So as you can see in the diagram, each of them have an emitter, a collector, and a base. Now the 3 prongs on the transistor could be in different orders. One time the base could be in the middle, it could be on the left or the right. You would need to figure out which one is which before you use it in a circuit. Also in the diagram, you can see the arrow pointing outward. In some of them, it'll point inward, and that will indicate whether it's an NPN or a PNP transistor. An NPN transistor has the arrow pointing away, like in the diagram. So what do transistors do? Transistors act as gates to turn things on or off. They decrease temperature, and they're used as amplifiers such as hearing aids or speakers. Each transistor is made of silicon atoms. Each silicon atom has 4 electrons and bonds with 4 other silicon neighbors to complete its valence shell. The N-type is doped with phosphorus atoms, which has 5 electrons. This unbalances how things bond. The phosphorus lets go of the 5th electron, and it's left free to roam the structure so that the phosphorus completes its valence shell. This leaves a negative charge on this end of the transistor, hence the N. The P-type is doped with boron atoms, which have 3 electrons. So in order for boron to fill its shell, it must take the electrons from the silicon atoms and bond to them, which leaves a positive charge due to the absence of an electron in one of the shells, hence the positive P. So the way the transistor works is due to the interaction of those free electrons. When a positive voltage is added to the base, it allows current to flow through. The transistor was first created by John Bardeen, Walter Brattain, and William Shockley. The first working transistor was called the point contact transistor and was created in 1947. After that, William Shockley introduced the improved bipolar junction transistor in 1948. By the 1950s, there was a widespread use of transistors, and it was very common for them to be used in things. So this is the XOR gate, so the exclusive OR gate. So this first schematic needs 2 PWM cables, and the second one only needs 1 PWM cable. So we have our inputs A and B, it goes to an OR gate, and then a NAND gate, and then goes to the AND gate. Or in the second one, we have our inputs A and B going to a NOT and an AND, and then a NOT and an AND, and then they both go into an OR. Here is our symbol, inputs and output, and then our truth table, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 0. And for the SparkFun, we have right now, both of the NOT are lit up. If we turn one on, then you can see the OR has lit up and the AND has lit up. And then that's the same if we turn the other one on. Same thing happens if we turn both of them on, then everything turns off. An XOR gate is any situation where you can choose one or the other, but not both. And you can see this in a mixer at a bakery where there's flour on one side of the container and sugar on the other side, and the computer must choose which one to put into the batter in order to make the correct ingredients. Another place that you can find a ton of XOR gates would be in digital electronics. And these pretty much consume our world today and are used frequently. So for our AND gate circuit, you can see I'm just going to go through the truth table. We start with voltage in our orange cable here and voltage here. They go through both of our momentary contact switches into the transistors in order to light the LED. So right now both of them are off, as well as our SparkFun logic gate. If I turn one of them on, the LED is still off. Same thing as if I turn the logic gate, one of them is on, it's still off. But if I turn, same thing, the other one on, it's still off. But if I turn both of them on, you can see it turns on the LED and it turns on our logic gate. Okay, so for our AND gate schematic, we are going to start with the voltages on each side. So we have voltage here, here, and here. We have our 2 NPN transistors, our momentary contact switches, the output of an LED, and ground. So the way this works is that voltage is put through to the collector of the first transistor, but it can't pass through until voltage is hit with the base. Once the base gets voltage, then it can go through to the emitter, and then to the second transistor where the same thing happens, and then you get to the LED, and it can finally complete the circuit to ground. So this is our symbol. We have both A and B inputs and a Y output. Our truth table. And then uses for an AND gate would be a motion sensor spotlight. So if you have the spotlight clicked on, and then the spotlight will also detect some sort of infrared motion, then the light will go off. Both of them have to be happening. And then the second thing is fastening a seatbelt alarm in cars. So if the ignition is on, the car knows that 1, the car is on, and 2, you're sitting in the seat, so it can detect you're sitting in the seat. But if the seatbelt is not buckled, the alarm will sound. So for our NAND circuit, I'm just going to go through the circuit a little bit. We have the voltage coming through this resistor right here and both of these. Then we have our momentary contact switches, which will provide voltage to each of the bases in the transistors. And then finally, if it completes the circuit, it'll go through this brown ground cable right here. So I'm just going to go through the truth table with the SparkFun logic gate and my circuit. So right now both of them are off, which is why you see a light produced in the LED and on the NOT gate. And if I turn one of them on, you still see that LED produced. If I turn the other one on, it's not going to make a difference and you'll see the same result. But if I turn both of them on, you can see the NOT turned off and the regular AND gate turned on. And the LED, you can see it turned off right there. Okay, so for our NAND gate schematic, you can see we have voltage coming from here, here, and here. These are our 2 momentary contact switches. We have our output as an LED and our ground. So these are NPN transistors, and the way this one works is if the voltage will start here, and the only way it's going to get through is if, to complete the circuit, is it's one going to go here. If voltage is gone to the base, then the emitter will let it go to the second one. If the voltage goes here as well and it passes through, then you can complete the circuit. Otherwise, it's going to go straight to the LED and into ground, and the light will be on. So next, our symbol, we have an input of A and B, our NOT sign, and our output of Y. And then our truth table once again. And so a use for a NAND gate would be a system you don't want to accidentally shut off. So for some reason, if you bump one of the kill switches, you don't want the machine to turn off, so that's why you have 2 of them that have to be off at the same time in order to completely shut it down. Okay, so for the OR gate, circuit, and logic gate, I'm just going to explain a little bit here. So we have voltage coming through this red cable as well as through these resistors, and then it'll go into each of the momentary contact switches, which will go to each of the bases of the transistors, all to get the LED to light up, and the ground here is a resistor. So right now everything is off, so there is no output on either of the logic gate or the circuit. If we turn one of them on, then you see the OR light turn on and the LED turns on. And the same thing if you switch sides, you have the same output. And if you turn both of them on, you have that same output again. Okay, so for the OR gate schematic, we have voltage coming in from these 3 locations. These 2 will go to the momentary contact switches, and this one is going right through the LED to try to get to ground. So what happens is it's going to come through, and as soon as the first voltage hits the base of the first transistor, it goes to ground and the LED will turn on. And if it goes through and tries to get to the second one, if the voltage goes through to the base, then the emitter will go through and it will go right to ground to turn the LED on. Our symbol for the OR gate, we have the 2 inputs A and B and the output of Y. Our truth table. And then the uses for an OR gate would be a doorbell that's hit on the front or the side door of a house. Either way, the bell will sound. And then also smoke alarms in a large building that has many stories. So if a smoke alarm goes off on the first floor, then the one on the 8th floor is still going to alert people and let them know that there's a fire in the building. So for the NOR circuit and logic gate, I'm just going to explain the circuit a little bit. So we have voltage coming through this resistor here, and this one, and then this one to the LED. And our ground cable is this brown cable right here. The voltage will go through to the momentary contact switch into the bases of the transistors. And then if it's able to go through both of them, it will light the LED and go through ground to complete the circuit. So right now, everything is off, which is why you see the NOT gate going. That's why the LED is on. If you turn one of them on, you see the OR gate go on, and you see the LED go off. Same thing if you turn the other side on. You have that on, and then that goes off. If you turn them both on, you still have that OR gate on, and the NOT gate is off, and the LED is off when you press them both. So for the NOR gate schematic, we have voltage coming through right here, and right here. And the voltage is going to go through the resistor into the output, which is an LED, and then to the ground. In order to shut the LED off, it's going to have to go through the transistor and then through a second one. So once the voltage goes through the momentary contact switch into the base, it can go to ground and complete that circuit. And then if it goes to the other one, the same thing, goes through the base and then to the ground to complete the circuit. So our symbol, we have both A and B inputs. We have the NOT, and then we have an output for Y. We have our truth table again. And then our use for the NOR gate would be a system where you want multiple kill switches. So if you have a factory and this machine is running and you all of a sudden need to turn it off, say you don't want to run all the way to the other side of the building to hit the button, you could have a second button on the other side, so you could easily hit it and the machine will go off no matter which one you hit.